Yeah, I can do the intro. That's fine.
Oh.
Should I just go?
Yeah, I was just doing a pause for editing purposes.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay. Red leather, yellow leather.
How now, brown cow?
I thought we're pausing for editing purposes, Scott.
Yeah, but then you...
All right.
It's entrapment.
Hello and welcome to the Miskatonic AV Club, a Mythos Busters production, episode 20-something. Today we're discussing Black Stars Rise, the player cards in that Mythos pack. I am Nick, not your normal host. I decided to take the short jaunt over here from Mythos Busters proper to see what's all going down. But today, joining me as usual on Miskatonic AV Club is Scott. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing great, Nick. How are you?
I am excited to be here. My first time since, I want to say, the Seeker cards of the core set. So it's been a couple years.
Yes.
And also with us today is Brandon. Hi, Brandon.
Hello, Miskatonic student body. Happy to be back on the radio.
Awesome. Great to have you. Always love to have you on. You've done a couple of these before, right?
I did. Yeah, I did the last couple packs, actually. We recorded them a couple weeks ago, but it sounds like they'll be out in back-to-back days. So hello again, everyone.
Awesome.
It's been mere minutes in podcast time.
Yeah. It's the magic of podcasting. All right. So now you have the cards, right, Scott?
I do. Do you actually want to start us off?
Sure. All right. Yeah.
You want to hunt down that first card?
Oh, shame. So, like I said, we're discussing the player cards in Black Stars Rise, a Mythos pack for the Path to Carcosa. The first card is On the Hunt, which is a Guardian card. It is an event. It's tactic trade. Do we go through all the details?
Oh, yes.
All right.
Top to bottom, my friend.
Guardian event. It's tactic traded. It costs 1 resource. It has the skill icons Intellect and Combat, and its game text reads Fast. Play when you would draw an encounter card during the Mythos phase. Instead, search the top 9 cards of the encounter deck for an enemy, spawn it engaged with you instead of its normal spawn location, and shuffle the encounter deck. If you cannot, draw the top card of the encounter deck. Cool.
Neat.
I like it. I mean, I don't use it too often. The only time I ever really use this sort of card is like in 3 or 4 player, primarily 4 player, and I don't think I've ever run 2 of them. So,
yeah, I feel like it's a card where if you are playing that 3 or 4 player and you're the dedicated killer, and the board is completely devoid of enemies, you play this and you're like, well, I might as well get something, right? Because if you're just loaded to bear with a bunch of guns and nothing for clues, you might as well do something, and getting an enemy out of the deck is, I think, probably beneficial.
Right.
I think of this one as actually Guardian's entry in I think it's a complete cycle now of like a Tested Will, Forewarned, Reward of Protection, and you handle this one, cards that essentially cancel a treachery. And that's actually where I look at this fitting into at least the design of the game. This is how Guardian can avoid drawing a treachery. If you've got low willpower or are almost insane, and you're like, it would be way safer for me to draw an enemy right now than any one of the number of treacheries in this scenario. That's when you play this card.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I will say that I do include this in 2-player games when my wife and I play, and I'm playing Roland specifically. Simply because he likes to have enemies with him, because that's how he gets clues. So
yeah, especially if you're on a high shroud location, that's actually a really good play. Jeffo in the chat says, seems like this is the Guardian version of Delve Too Deep or Charon's Obel. And yeah, like, I mean, if you can use it to find a victory point enemy, and maybe it has a weird spawn location, spawn it with you, and just, when you're ready for it, just kill it.
Now, I'm sure I am showing my unfamiliarity with the specific enemies, but how many VP enemies exist in the encounter deck? Because aren't the vast majority of them set aside?
I was just going to say that too.
Thank God.
There's usually no more than 2 or so cards
in like a
with victory points on
campaign.
them. Well, I think I mean, some encounters certainly have none, and you're absolutely right. It's like only the boss and locations. But and I think if they are in the encounter deck, it's usually no more than about 2 copies. So I feel like unless you're playing this kind of late in the scenario in a multiplayer game where you're most of the way through the deck and you know that they're still in the deck, you're likely to whiff and just get a regular enemy or miss enemies entirely if that's
right.
I don't think it's a very efficient way to guarantee victory points.
That's fair. BD Flory in the chat brings up another good point. It's really good for spawning cultists engage with you, as opposed to like Wizard of the Order. Like if you can nab him and just put him right in front of you, that's pretty good.
Yeah, very good point.
Well, shall we stick to the plan and have Brandon read the next one?
We already read the title. Up next, the other Guardian card in the pack, Stick to the Plan. It's a level 3 exceptional permanent asset. That's a talent. So exceptional means it costs 6 experience points in this case. It says, as a fast action before you draw your, or as a reaction, before you draw your opening hand, search your deck for up to 3 different tactic and/or supply events and attach them to Stick to the Plan. Shuffle your deck. Cards attached to Stick to the Plan may be played as if they were in your hand. As an additional cost to play an attached card, exhaust Stick to the Plan. What's your take, Nick?
I love it. The only thing I don't like is the 6 XP cost, because that's such a huge ask. But this card literally changes the course of games for Guardians. Like, it starts in play, and you slap 3 important cards to it. I have a build for Roland that I use in most of our standalone games. I call it, is there any other card other than Shotgun? And the whole point of that deck is to fish out Shotgun and keep it in play for the entire game. And having Stick to the Plan with cards like Prepared for the Worst and extra ammo attached to it, it makes that deck work. Like, that deck wouldn't work without this.
Using this to search your deck for the cards that search your deck for Shotgun. That's
exactly. Exactly.
Deckception. I like it.
I like it too, even for putting an emergency cache on it at the beginning of the game, right? Like, because that's when you want emergency cache. And if you get this, I'd actually probably be okay taking one out of my deck because I know I'm going to draw one at the beginning, right? And this makes extra ammo way more valuable because usually extra ammo, you have to draw it at the same time you have a gun out that you want to use it on, all that stuff. But having it just there, this card is just bonkers good.
Yeah, I agree that it's great. I'll be devil's advocate slightly and point out that it is a pretty narrow selection of cards that can actually go on it. Ironically, for its title, your deck's plan usually revolves around your assets. So it doesn't actually... It's not like... The card presents itself almost like you can guarantee that your game plan is going to work every game. And it doesn't really do that because that usually requires assets. Very true. Honestly, for just putting 2 emergency caches and something else on it that are essentially cards number 6, 7, and 8 in your hand at the start of the game, incredibly powerful.
Well, they have to be 3 different cards, though, so you can't have 2 caches.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I had forgotten that detail.
RTFC, noob. No, I'm just kidding.
Is Stand Together a tactical supply?
Stand Together is Spirit. It is not.
Yeah.
But My Penguins Are Lulls says Ever Vigilant. I totally agree with that. You talk about your asset play. If you attach Ever Vigilant to this, then turn 1, you get 3 assets in play for 1 action at a reduced cost on every one of them. And that is money right there, my friend. Especially if you have cash on there too, or excuse me, if you have quiche on there too, and you can pop the quiche for your first action. Well, no, then never mind. That doesn't work because you got to exhaust this.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even if you cash the first turn and then second turn play Ever Vigilant. Sorry, quiche. Pardon me.
I can't. Why are we switching it all of a sudden? It's been that way for 50 episodes.
Sorry, I think that was my fault. I'm not.
Damn it, Brandon!
I'm not in on all your Mythos Busters lingo all the time.
Juffo says on the chat too, does this make Contraband reasonable? I think so in certain decks.
Ugh, maybe very limited. Contraband is still just not a great card.
It's not, but I mean, if you want to like load up your shotgun, you have extra ammo.
Yeah.
and then venture like in Leo and pop another ammo on it, and then.
But the thing is, extra ammo is a 2 resource cost card for 3 ammunition, and contraband is a 4 resource cost card for what, 4?
Well, it's double.
It's
whatever
it
you
doubles,
can.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, does it double what's on the card, or
Yes.
does it double?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, remember I showed you that picture when me and BD were playing, and he had like 28 rounds on shotgun. That was contraband.
I think I gotta rethink my views on contraband.
I think you're right. I think contraband's pretty weak even here. The only thing that I can see it really having over extra ammunition is it's a level 0 card. Extra ammunition costs you an experience point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fewer resources, and on a lot of guns, or at least the shotgun or lightning gun that you just played, extra ammunition gives you more ammo than doubling what it starts with.
But if you extra custom contraband, how much ammo is that, Scott?
Quick, Scott.
Sorry.
2 plus 3, 5, 8, plus another 2 from custom 10, is 10, plus 2 from... 12. You're looking at 24. 24 rounds on your shotgun. Then you contraband again, you got 48 rounds on your shotgun. Wow. I mean, that sounds good to me.
Just start, like, shooting clues.
You need a lot more than just stick to the plan to get all those cards.
That's true.
Yeah, and
you need to be cheating.
Custom ammo is a supply card, so you can put it on stick to the plan.
Oh, it's such a good card. I love it. I wish we were talking. Can we just talk about custom ammo today?
I haven't used that one yet.
Oh, it's so good.
You know what, Nick? I can probably give you some guidance on building that deck if you're interested. Guidance is a level 0 Seeker event. Costs 0 as well. It has a wild pip and it's insight traded, which actually matters now. Choose another investigator at your location who is yet to take his or her turn this round. That investigator may take an additional action during his or her turn this round. I think this is a cool concept for a card.
Executed poorly.
Well, I get what it is, right? Like, you are literally just saying, take one of my actions. Right? Like,
right.
And I could see this, like, remember, Nick, when we played Labyrinths at Arkham Knights? Yes. And you were Daisy and I was Zoe, and I was fighting all these big guys, and I'm like, can I have your encyclopedia boost this turn? And when I was absolutely swarmed, like, this might have actually been okay for you to be like, because there weren't many clues, we just needed to put damage on the big guy. Like, you could have just given me actions, and I was just going to town with Lightning Gun. So, okay.
In that hyper-specific example, this would have been useful, but it's just, it's the fact that it eats one of your actions to do so, and actions are in my opinion, I think there's a strong argument here. Hands down, actions are the most valuable of your quote-unquote resources or quote-unquote currency. Far and away, because you only get 3 each turn unless you're cheating like a rogue. And if you're playing this card as a Seeker, you're giving up one of your 2 actions, and Seeker has some good action compression, especially with like Ursula. But even still, like, I would love to see a level 3 version of this that's fast and maybe costs 2. You know what I mean? Like, costs 2 resources, it's fast, 3 experience. That would be amazing.
I think it could cost 0 at 3 XP.
You think so?
Yeah, it's a high level card.
Generate an action for 3 experience.
For 3 XP, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
I'm a big I know we get made fun of, but I'm a big subscriber to using like the action economy to evaluate cards in general. But I think this is one that you can see where that breaks down. Because if this costs 2 resources but was fast, that would be worse action economy, and it would be a way better card. Because
sure, I see what you're saying.
It would actually increase the amount that you get to do in a round, and there are a lot more situations where that's more useful than just transferring one action from one player to another.
Right.
And if that was the case, they could also, it would break the flavor of the card. But if it costs a couple resources and could be used on yourself also, then it would do something in solo.
Self-guidance.
and be that much more flexible.
Yeah. I think this is an example of a card that is balanced, but because of what it's trying to do, that balance actually works against it.
I've played with this. Oh, go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, I was just going to say the one thing that I would point out is if you're building for two-handed solo or really coordinating decks with someone, and you're playing with a rogue that is playing things like Payday and other kind of rewards for getting as many actions into a turn as possible, that does add value to this. I don't even know if that makes it good, but it's a situation where if that's the kind of a team gimmick that you're going for.
So in a Min plus Skids build,
oh god,
where Skids is going hyper action ornate bow, then yes.
Finn is good with Payday too. He gets that fourth action a lot of turns.
That's true. That's true.
You don't have to lower yourself to Skids level.
I do like Skids. I've said it before. I do like him. I just wish he was better. I wish he was more consistent. I'll put it that way.
I'm just going to also throw this out here, Brandon, because you mentioned it. Just so you know, and I'm making this rule because Sean isn't here. The AV Club is a click economy safe space. Okay.
Oh yes. You are going to rue the day you said that.
I don't think it's the end all be all, but it is a tool for evaluating cards, and that's what AV Club is all about.
It's just such a... Nah, I'm not going to get into it, whatever.
I just thought I'd share that piece of arcane insight with you, Brandon.
Shut up! These segues are pissing me off.
Also,
it's AV Club in a while.
It's a horrible pun safe space as well.
Nick, what's your insight into this card?
It's poor. Arcane Insight is a level 4 seeker asset that costs 3 resources. It has a willpower and intellect skill icons. It is spell traded, uses 3 charges, and it says free action. While an investigator is taking his or her turn, spend 1 charge. Your location gets -2 shroud until the end of the turn, limit once per game, and it takes up an arcane slot.
Limit once per turn, not game.
Didn't I say that? Oh, I'm sorry. Limit once per game. Yeah. 3 charges, but
3 charges once per game.
Once. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I think it's in the super support seeker. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice, but it's a free action, so I guess I should like it. I don't know why I don't.
Sean brought this up in one of our chats, yesterday, I think, because we were talking about our Arkham Knights Iron Man for Carcosa plan or whatever, and he's thinking of throwing in an Arcane Insight into his Daisy deck so that if you playing Leo, I mean, you've got 3 intellect, which is decent. If you ever don't have an enemy, maybe you can come to his location and find a couple clues using Arcane Insight to drop that shroud value a bit. Jeff, did a guy, he swallowed a flashlight?
Essentially, that's what it is.
It works mechanically and visually. Oh my god.
That's really good.
That is insanely good.
I go back and forth on who this is for. I look at this, and whenever I see a spell in non-Mystic, I think, oh, it's awesome for Akachi and Marie, the Mystic characters that can play spells from, that's a big part of their splash ability. Finally getting utilized. But the problem is it's an Arcane slot, and they already have plenty going on in Arcane slot.
Exactly.
And then for Seekers, they're not doing anything with Arcane slots generally. Maybe Daisy is because she is off-class purple, but generally Seekers are the ones that that icon might as well not even be on the card. It's not a downgrade. So yeah, it's kind of just okay for both for those reasons in my mind. It's a strong effect, but whether it's worth 4 experience and a deck slot and 3 resources and the coordination that it takes to be in the same location where you want to use it.
The 4 XP is what does it for me. Like it just seems like it's too much. But
this would be a great min card if it didn't have to be your location. Even if it was just a connecting location. Like, that would be amazing. You know what I mean? Then I would definitely put this in min. But because it's only your location, that's such a big limiter. And you're right, that 4 XP, this card just asks a lot of you, and it doesn't really have a clear home.
I mean, and that's what kind of Sean and I discussed as well. Like, is it worth it? And I was like, you know what? At the end of the campaign, if you have that XP left over, sure. It's a cheeky one of... but I wouldn't 3 scenarios in be like, hey, gotta get my Arcane Insight. It's a very end of the campaign upgrade, I think.
But even at the end of the campaign, isn't there going to be better things that you can spend 4 experience on?
It's a strong tool in Where Doom Awaits for Mystic characters that using their normal investigation tools.
Oh, I wish Sean was here for that.
Yeah.
This came out a cycle later, so way too late to prevent that episode of Mythos Busters.
Well,
but it would help out a lot there.
I gotta say, Sean narrowly escaped another Where Doom Awaits burn.
Oh.
I'm ready to quit this show.
Good riddance. AV Club is for people who enjoy puns and segues.
Speaking of riding a Segway, Brandon, you want to read? Brandon, read this card, please.
Yeah. Narrow Escape is our first road card of the pack. It's a level 0 resource event with 2 agility icons on it. It's fortune traded and fast. And when you play it, it says, play when an enemy makes an attack of opportunity against you. Cancel that attack. You get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform this turn. It says, next time I'm driving, as they flee from something that looks like a crab with more tentacles.
From Emrakul, obviously.
Yeah.
Scott, have you made much use of the narrow spaces card fits in?
What? Really? The narrow space? I hope you're being facetious.
I think it's a pretty... No, go ahead.
I think it's... I mean, here's the thing. If you're playing it, I think it's an okay card. I think what you're going to most often...
I'm letting you fit. I'm just reacting real time.
I think this is something where, you're going to get a clue, or you're going to do something else, or you need to move, and then you use this, so your next test is an agility test to evade the enemy. Here's the thing, though. Why not just use it for its pips?
That's what I was going to say.
Because it's essentially turning those 2 agility into wild, is what it's doing, because you get +2 to whatever you want.
I guess they could turn them into 2 fists, so then you're fighting, swinging at
I would say, I love this in Leo. Because
yeah, fair enough.
I always see enemies as primary. What enemies are there to do is to eat up your actions. That's literally all that they're there to do, in my opinion. That's what they represent mechanically in the game. And so anytime that I can do other things while dealing with enemies, or anytime that I can do other things that mitigate the impact enemies have on my turn, I think that's huge value right there. And that's exactly what this card does. I love the art. I love the playmat that this was, this was one of the first playmats we got. And I'm so glad that this card is as good as that playmat was, artwork wise, because you're able to do, you're able to get that clue, you're able to move to the location you need to get to, you're able to do whatever you want, and then respond to the enemy and get not only do you cancel the attack, not only do you get a free dodge, but you get a +2 to whatever you do again, whatever that is.
You know what? I will say, I'm realizing now that first action you take could be playing a weapon.
Yeah.
And okay, no, this is a good card.
I love this. I would pay 1 experience for this card. I would consider it for 2, but I would pay 1 for this easily.
That's just not an every game situation where
it's not
on you and don't have your table yet. Especially with Rogue, when several of their weapons are fast.
Sure.
It's such a it requires you to have an enemy either spawn on top of you or have already been on you and attacked you that round to be useful. And then you need to have something you'd rather do than evade it.
Kill it.
To have this have any use at all.
I don't know. Well, and even if you don't use it for its text, it's a level 0 card with 2 matching skill icons, and that isn't as common as I would like. Most level 0 cards have alternating skill icons. You know what I mean?
That's true, but I think that both Unexpected Courage and Manual Dexterity are better than this. So don't play this until you have 2 of both of those.
Well, sure, but those are skill cards. Like, this has a use aside from that, and the use aside from that is really good. No, it is, Brandon. It's good.
To its icons.
No, but they're wild, and it cancels an attack.
You know what this is? This is also good for is certain scenarios where you have a massive enemy and you need to walk away from them.
Yeah.
No, Brandon, you're wrong. This is a good card.
You're wrong, Brandon.
Okay.
I'm sorry to come down on you so hard.
I
really like this card.
This is my third episode. I'm used to it.
That's the spirit.
Well, I have a suggestion that we move on to the next card. Because it's a rogue card, level 3, and it is suggestion. 3 cost, it's an asset.
Are you reading my cards now?
Isn't it my turn?
I don't know.
Scott's been going after me, man.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, okay.
Jeez, pay attention, Nick. We expect high quality on AV Club. All right.
No, you don't.
Suggestion, rogue asset, level 4, 3 cost, has a willpower pip and a agility pip. It's spell traded. Uses 3 charges, an action, exhaust suggestion, evade. Add your willpower value to your skill value for this evasion attempt. If you do not succeed by at least 2, remove 1 charge from suggestion. Reaction, when a non-elite enemy would attack you, spend 1 charge, cancel that attack. Also takes up an arcane slot. This is a busy card.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that ability that lets you just cancel an attack 3 times. It's quite a bit better than Narrow Escape. A lot more versatile. Just
but it's for experience. No. You don't get the skill. All right, whatever. No, whatever.
So the problem with this card is that a lot of rogues struggle from having low willpower, limiting the benefit of adding your willpower to your evasion. But for certain characters, particularly mystics who can play this because they can play all spells, or Safina, this card's great. As long as you are building a deck where you want to evade as opposed to just kill stuff, I think it's 4 XP. I've played it in Safina and really, really benefited from it a lot. Because I was playing with a more Kluger Safina where I was trying to mostly stay out of fighting and be the investigator for our team.
I was going to say that in Safina, I think that the fact that it takes up the arcane slot, or that it's a spell, like, I mean, Safina is a mystic, let's be honest.
That is true.
She's just green colored, right?
She's a mystic in a green coat.
Yeah. That makes suggestion kind of iffy for me. I do like it. I think 4 XP is a lot for what this card gives you. I think
it is, but I think unlike its sister card from this set, Arcane Insight, this has a little bit clearer of a home, whereas Arcane Insight did not. You know what I mean? Like I've only ever seen this card used once, and that was when my wife bought one for her Jenny deck, just to have some sort of response when she didn't have a weapon out and I wasn't around to take care of an enemy or something like that. And honestly, I think she only ever used it for its secondary ability. I don't think she ever evaded with it. I think she just used it to straight up eat up attacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this one does have a potential home, unlike Arcane Insight.
Jeffo also brings up in the chat, did we all have a moment, and I totally know what moment he's talking about, where we realized that the card stays useful even without charges. Like that action, you can use that action for the rest of the game, adding your willpower to your evade, even if it's empty.
Yeah, I do wonder if that's a design oversight. I was a little surprised I didn't get errated, but it does work that.
For 4 XP, I think that's okay.
And the fact that, like you said, most rogues have a relatively low willpower, or at least not enough to really make it a huge difference. But again, a free +1 to your evade, why not, you know?
I just think that because spells generally are not useful once their charges are gone, and also rogues have things like lockpicks that work exactly like this, except are discarded when it's gone. It's a really weird outlier to both those.
But it's a rogue spell, so it's like...
it's also level 4.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
Like, it's 4 XP and 3 cost to add 1 to 3 to your evade skill, only if you're doing an evade, not necessarily just an agility test on a treachery or something. Like,
Yeah, and I
Brandon,
don't
you're
think
right.
the card is broken by any means.
No,
Yeah.
But I just think there's a typo on it.
it's a noteworthy, like it's something that you have to be aware of. Sure, like that's definitely something that gives you pause. Because we don't see that. You're right, we don't. Like other spells, they go away when they run out of charges.
Yeah.
And it's unintuitive. You almost like the reason to put it up. Everyone has a moment, somewhat a while after reading it, or even into a while after adding it to their deck when they realize that it works that way. It's not what your brain expects when you read the card.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's really the key to this card.
Yeah, Nick, you want to unlock this one for us?
God damn it, you guys. What is this? Okay. St. Hubert's Key is a unique. N-unique? It's N-unique. It's a unique. How does that... How do you... Anyway.
I think it's unique.
I think it's a unique as well, but or anyway, it's a unique mystic asset. It is 4-costed, level 0, has a subtitle Cleansing Fire, and it has a willpower skill icon. It is item and charm traded, and its game text reads, you get +1 will, +1 intellect, and -2 sanity. Reaction, when you would be defeated by horror, discard St. Hubert's Key, immediately heal 2 horror, and it takes up the accessory slot.
I think this card is great if you are a mystic who's not too worried about money. It's not... there's a big difference between 2 and 4 resources. 2 is what Holy Rosary costs, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And essentially the -2 sanity, but then heal 2 horror. It's honestly most of the time very similar to the 2 horror soak on Holy Rosary.
You net
kind of
2
the difference
horror.
is it's 2 more resources for +1 intellect. And intellect is not commonly that useful to mystic characters.
But this in a Daisy deck.
I was gonna say Daisy is where I've found.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're running like a Spellslinger Daisy, this thing is just insane.
Yes.
You throw some painkillers in there, and she's just not gonna die because she effectively has like 11 sanity at that point. Yeah.
Well, no, she still only has 9 because it goes down by 2. But it heals 2. So.
Right, it heals 2, but then you gain back that -2 as well. Like you net 2 sanity out of this. Because you'd go down to 7, right? And then you take 7, and then all of a sudden you lose St. Hubert's Key, you heal 2, now you have...
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
unless you die by taking, more than 2 horror at once.
I mean, sure. You net 4 sanity when it goes away, but you lost 2 of them in the first place. So it's not like it's the equivalent of having 4 sanity.
Right, yeah. Oh, such a riveting discussion on it.
Now, in the click economy...
God damn it. No, I really like this. The accessory slot is it's a hotly contested slot. But I do think that this has a definite place. And BD Flory is saying it's good for Marie. And I've only played Marie once, but I could definitely see this being very useful for her.
I just joined Ian today at lunchtime for his Abandoned and Alone series he's starting. And he's running Solo Mateo through Carcosa. And we ended up putting a St. Hubert's Key in there, as well as a Crystalline Elder Sign. And I think the St. Hubert's Key is going to turn into his second Crystalline Elder Sign.
Very nice.
But yeah, like this, we're looking at what this does for Mateo. I mean, gets him to 5 willpower, 4 intellect. Like, that's pretty good for solo.
Yeah.
I was distracted by the chat for a moment. Have we made it this far without talking about the fact that this enables the Desperate Search cycle and other cards that care about you having low sanity?
We haven't! But you're right!
Because this was released in the Path to Carcosa cycle. That is clearly a big part of its intent.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's something you got to build around a little bit. But it is a big reason to run the card also, is if you're trying to keep your sanity low. Because it artificially lowers your sanity, because when it does heal you those 2 horror, it bounces your sanity back.
Guys, this in Desperate Duke.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say desperate.
As soon as you play this, you're desperate.
Oh, I love it.
Well, guess I'm building a desperate Duke with St. Hubert's Key shortly.
desperate Dubert's Key. Oh, forget it. Go on. Move on.
All right. Well, I don't have a really funny pun for this one.
You know, I've been putting a lot of thought into this segue, and I'm not sure it's possible. The next card.
Nick has been protected from the...
The next card is level 2 Ward of Protection. It slots in between the level 0 and level 5 we already had at the time this released. It's a level 2, obviously, Mystic event that costs 1 resource and has 1 wild pip on it. It is a spell and a spirit traded card. It's fast, says play when an investigator at any location draws a non-weakness treachery card. Cancel this card's revelation effect, then take 1 horror. Yeah, this is what you wanted this card to be.
I forget even what does the level 5 do? Does that hit enemies too?
Yeah, it hits enemies, but I think it's only you?
5 cancels any card, but it's only you. I think this is better than 5.
I agree.
This is what I point to when they kind of swing and miss with a high level card like Springfield or something, and I suggest on the Discord that they could just create a lower level version that's all better. That's exactly what this is. And I don't see why you. I mean, okay, I can think of, because it cancels enemies, I can think of reasons why you would upgrade to the 5. But
if you're
exactly what you wanted this card to be.
Yeah, if you're running a solo game or maybe even a 2-player game, you know, that level 5 one might be preferable. Well, definitely in solo.
Yes,
but if there's any other investigator, there's really no reason not to do that. Level
2 Ward sucks in solo. Let's just.
Well, yeah. No matter where that treachery is drawn. Oh wait, it's just me.
It's also the only. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say Calvin can take this too, which I really like.
Oh,
it's spirit traded.
He can only take. Can't Calvin only take spirit traded level 0, or can he go up a couple levels?
I think it's like 0 to 3 or something. I can check. Okay, Continue with whatever you're talking about.
This, out of all of the events we already talked about, or I brought up the cycle events. Every class has some way to cancel treacheries. This is the only one that works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Even the
Test of Will
only works for you. The Forewarned only works for you. A Test of Will only works for an investigator at your location. This is the only one that works for anyone, anywhere. Just cancels that horrible treachery that's going to ruin your day.
Mm-hmm. And as it should be. I mean, Mystics should be the class that has that capability, honestly. So,
I thought Test of Will works for everyone. Oh, by the way, Calvin.
It does, but at your location.
Okay. Calvin is 0 to 3 spirit, so he can take it.
Oh. Yeah, so he probably should. In fact, I have in my blind play group with Calvin for TFA. I might have even already upgraded to these and just forgotten that detail. I'm definitely running 2 of them in Calvin.
Yeah, this is a good card. You should. And the awesome thing too is it's a spell. So you could find it with like Arcane Initiate, possibly the level 3 one, which is a 0 cost Mystic card. Mystic asset.
Did you pause for us to compliment your segue?
No, because I forgot what purple meant.
Oh, I did the same thing with St. Hubert's Key.
It's been a long day. Arcane Initiate is the upgraded version now, so level 3, 0 cost, willpower and combat pips, ally and sorcerer, forced. After Arcane Initiate enters play, place 1 doom or 2 horror on it. And then fast action, exhaust Arcane Initiate, search the top 3 cards of your deck for a spell and draw it, shuffle your deck. 1 health, 3 sanity, and takes up the ally slot. This is it's a pretty good upgrade, but
it is.
I don't know how much I run Arcane Initiate anymore.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, Mystics now have so many really good allies that this is like, even just without thinking about charisma or a specific build for this, if you're just thinking general Mystic, any one of the 3 other, big unique allies for Mystic would fit better than Arcane Initiate, in my opinion. So
yeah, it's dramatically better than the
yeah.
Arcane Initiate because you don't have to put the Doom on it, and it's free. And it has a combat pip is the other difference between the two, or
Well,
whatever.
I mean,
for whatever that's worth.
whoop-de-doo.
Oh, yeah, I don't consider Arcane Initiate to be terribly good. This is another one I feel like people are gonna have my head for. I would almost never put it into a deck just because I don't like having to wait until the right time to play it and hope that I have a free action that round so that the Doom doesn't screw over my team. That
so you wouldn't just stack the horror on her?
No, sorry. I meant the original Arcane Initiate.
Oh, okay.
I would
apologies.
never play. This one I would play because being able to do. I really value drawing a card and knowing I'm not going to get a weakness. I guess it's actually it's possible to hit 3 weaknesses.
I have or I've done it with Agnes where the only spell was her weakness.
Sorry, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. You can't hit 3 weaknesses, forced to draw one. That's only Daisy who can do that, or that's only her tome that can do that. But yeah, so there's a lot of value in safety. I think that effect is really strong. It's just not ordinarily worth the Doom.
Right.
The other thing this card has going for it is Mystics don't have great allies. Their allies are mostly pretty niche. They're dealing with manipulating the Chaos bag. Yeah,
but isn't that great? I mean, isn't that objectively? What about Renfield? I mean, is there a Mystic deck you wouldn't put Renfield in?
I guess I'm just not big on like Doom manipulation. So
I'm not either, Brandon. I totally get you on that. Renfield, I'm always like, do I want to use him? Alyssa Graham though, as a solo player, she is top notch.
Yeah, as a solo player, that's true. I said this once already. But most of the time, in at least the Mystics that I've been playing, I don't care that much about getting +1 intellect. So Alyssa, and again, because her other ability is putting Doom on her, which I'm just not a fan of dealing with. Yeah, I think that the Mystic ally slot, at least for the way I approach the game, is pretty uncontested, which does leave room for this if I find myself with 3 experience hanging around.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that generally. I guess I am just such a big fan of Alyssa, and because Alyssa, you don't need to use the Doom. Like, you can at least just look at what it is, and you know what I mean, and just play around that. And then Renfield is really nice too, but yeah, you're you're accumulating Doom with him. So, I mean, this is a good more general purpose purple ally that is playable, unlike level 0, like you said. But yeah, I do love Alyssa and Renfield. They're both really good, in my opinion. I didn't mean to turn the AV Club into Brandon Defend Yourself. I apologize for jumping on the last minute and completely changing the
dynamic.
Brandon,
thanks for coming on. Go fuck yourself.
I'm used to it, and you guys have hung out with me on the Discord for years now. I'm on the negative / devil's advocate side of a lot of these discussions anyway. That's
sure
the stance I kind of enjoy taking. So no, bring it on. I won't go down without it.
Nick, are you tired of my puns?
Well,
do you want me to stop making them? Well, I'm not going to, not without a fight. Yeah. Oh.
That's my only answer now, is to just steal the wind from your sails.
Did you miss that I just put that at the end of my rant? It was perfect.
You did, didn't you?
It was
Brandon.
That's too subtle, man.
20 points for you.
I'll fix it in post. No, I won't.
We don't do any editing or anything.
I do a little bit.
Not that kind of editing. Well, you might, I guess.
All right, who's reading this?
Not Without a Fight is a survivor skill card. It's level 0. Wait a minute. Who read the last? No, I'm already going.
Just do it.
Level 0 skill card for survivor. It has a will, a combat, and an agility skill icons. It is innate traded. And its game text reads, commit to a skill test only if you are engaged with an enemy. For each enemy engaged with you, not without a fight, gains will, combat, and agility. I love this card.
I am so not impressed with this card.
Yeah.
What? I mean, it's not an auto include in any survivor, but
yeah, exactly.
It's but it's 2 agility or 2 combat. Like, that's at the very least. And the fact that it covers both of those fields with just 1 card, so you don't have to throw in overpowers or manual. Well, who puts in manual dexterity anymore? Seriously, but it's the fact that it's the double combat, double agility in 1 card, and it can potentially go even higher if you have 2 enemies with you or something.
Yeah, I think for me, it's only if you're engaged with an enemy. Like, if you don't have an enemy on you for a couple turns because you're not the enemy person, or you're just drawing treacheries, it just sits in your hand.
Sure, but then, I mean, yeah. All right, that's fair, but I still like it.
Yeah, in an attempt to be a little less negative on this podcast, I love the art on this card.
That's true. Yes.
This is, I think, I actually always thought that this was Rita for some reason, but I noticed in today's preview article for the Arkham Horror board game, they used the same art on a card for Daniela Reyes, which makes sense with the wrench. I love her like beating back the tentacles coming from kind of the foreground of the art. So the card has that going for it.
Oh, jeez.
It's a worse unexpected courage, because the situation where you're going to have more than 1 enemy engaged niche. Again, I come from the perspective of I almost never solo, so maybe that's more likely in solo.
And I was going to say that I think this is a 2-player card.
2-player, maybe if you're, I guess, Yorick, if you're the player who should have, and you still try to avoid it.
I would actually say this is probably a 4-player card if I'm building, or if I'm building all 4 decks from my own collection and we're all playing Survivor, so I run out of other cards to use.
Oh, come on! Jeez, this is the card. This card has a place in any deck that you want proxy for. We'll just say that.
So let me. Yeah, I put a slip of paper in front of it, and it's a different card. It's got a really nice back and fits in a sleeve. I think that my issue with it is, in every Survivor I'm thinking of, I can think of better skills to put in.
Mm-hmm.
And
in a world where resourceful exists, yes.
And that's the issue, right? Like, we have some really.
But you can include more than 1 skill from your class.
Well, yes, but I'm also going to probably throw in, if it's Ashcan Pete, I'm going to throw in Vicious Blows or deductions or whatever, right? It's
sure.
Yeah, Survivor has so many options when you include the neutral ones.
It's not a bad card. It just gets overshadowed by a lot.
Okay. All right. I mean, I even led saying that I don't, I rarely put 2 of this, and I don't put it in any deck. Mm-hmm. But yeah, all right.
And yeah, I think it's worse than Unexpected Courage, and it's worse than I think it's more flexible, obviously, than Manual Dexterity or Power, but it lacks that card draw. So I don't think I would put it in over any of those, except Resourceful does care about it being a Survivor's card, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing it has going for it that I'll point out. It may be weaker than some neutral skills, but it is a Survivor skill that matters. Survivor's the class that cares about red cards specifically sometimes.
And the fact that, what's that one Survivor card that fishes innate skills out of your discard pile?
Are you trying to cue me up to read the next card? Because we're about to talk.
Is that it? Oh my, yeah. I'm seriously not. I was like, what's the name of that card? Nobody plays it.
I think it's True Survivor.
It's True Survivor, which is a level spirit event that costs 3 resources. And it says return 3 innate skills from your discard pile to your hand. There we go. If we're going to talk about it, we might as well get to reading it out of the way.
I'm glad I just bumbled into that.
I'll point out, I actually typed this in a minute ago and checked. Unexpected Courage is also innate, so I still think Unexpected Courage has the advantage when you consider True Survivor.
That's fair.
But it is another card that combos with True Survivor for sure.
Oh.
What do you guys think about True Survivor?
I have never used it.
And never will. 3 cost and 3 XP to draw 3 cards. What is this world?
When there's other more consistent and cheaper recursion that's available in this game. This is almost like the recursion card for an investigator that can't normally do recursion, but then it's like that investigator like would have a stronger ability. You know, like you wouldn't be if they can't normally do it, then you're probably not going to be exploring that as an option. So I don't know where this. I mean, maybe not even in Min. No, she can't because it's 3.
Yeah,
I think some people have been talking about using it in Silas, but
why? Silas doesn't need this.
I know.
Well, let's look at that. Would this actually make Silas better? I hope not, because he's God. Like, he's amazing right now.
Yeah.
I don't think this would make him any better.
The 3 XP is what kills it, right? Because if it was 2, Agnes could take it, and she could then run level 2 Defiance, which is an 8.
Sure.
And pulling that back, like, level 2 Defiance is pretty freaking good.
They'd have to rename the card though. If other characters could flash True
Yes.
Survivor, I don't think that would work.
True-ish Survivor.
3 resources and an action are also a lot. Like looking past the experience cost when you're actually looking at your turn and using this card. 3 resources and an action is a lot to ask of this, I think.
Yeah, economy-wise, 3 action. I've told this is a safe space. 3 resources a card and an action is a lot worse than just drawing 3 cards. And if your deck is full of skills because that's your strategy, you're probably going to get these skills that way.
Yeah. I mean, you are choosing the cards you are drawing, kind of, right? Like recursion is you can go and pick through.
It's selected card drawing.
And those cards have already done their job, right? Like you've already played them and gotten, so it's doing them twice.
It's double the use.
Yeah. Penguins in the chat brings up Take Heart. I feel like if you're using this to bring back Take Heart to get more cards and more resources, like at what point do you just draw cards and take resources? Yeah, it's the fail and you get.
Yeah, I like that, but I wouldn't like. I don't think this. I don't know. This doesn't. This I don't know. Who is this for? Like who would take this as a 3 experience pick?
Yeah. Stroke of Luck is an 8.
But
so if you don't have to trigger it, I mean, you could bring it back.
Stroke of Luck is. Remind me what that one does.
It is. You can change.
Sorry,
you say it. Go ahead.
It has a it has a wild icon, and if you fail the test you throw it into, you can exile it to succeed instead.
Oh. Oh well. Okay.
Yeah, you can exile it if you succeed, but that
but Stroke of Luck is only a 1 wild. So are you really going to be pitching that to skills that you like? To me, that's the one that you pitch to the skill you expect to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like maybe you pass because you drew a +1, but probably not.
Hey, guys, I found the combo though.
All right, hit me.
Resourceful. So you use Resourceful to like pull back cards, whatever you want, and then you use True Survivor to pull back Resourceful. Then you use Resourceful to pull back True Survivor.
Oh my god! I actually want to do this now.
And it's just infinite innate skills.
And you're right. Winning combination. I don't know who finding clues, defeating enemies, or otherwise advancing in the game, but that is a combination of cards. Yes.
I actually want to do that just to get just to see people's faces.
Yeah.
Like
everyone at the table is just like, "Are you gonna actually play the game or just like?"
Finally, I found my Iron Man deck.
So our survivors going to be the that play the game with like their discard pile just laid out in front of them, like across the bottom of their playmat, just so they can see everything that's in the discard pile and be like,
Well, that's going to be me with Yorick, because you kind of have to. Okay, you know what? I found a deck, and I'm being legitimate this time. A Succeed by 2 Wendy, because Opportunist is an 8, and so if you lose your Opportunists, because usually once you get 2 in hand, especially the upgraded ones, you just commit them to every single test, right? And eventually you draw the tentacle or something, and you fail it. This can bring that back and bring the combo back.
Which brings me back to the question, like the number one question: is there anything else that you would prefer to spend 3 experience on for that deck other than this card? Yaddle?
Man, I don't think in a Succeed by 2 deck.
Really?
No, I think Yodel's more better in a Desperate deck.
Oh, that's fair.
with desperate skills and stuff. But
yeah, I mean,
one, isn't he?
I'll concede that point, Scott. I think that's a pretty good use of this card. I don't know if anyone's ever built that deck.
Yeah,
is that a thing people play? Do people play Succeed by 2?
yeah, it's fun to mess around with.
Okay. I play it with Jenny sometimes, just because you can spend the cash to get 5 up, and then
the what?
Pretty much guaranteed it. In Jenny.
Never mind.
Spend the cash.
Sorry, I was looking for you to say quiche, but.
Oh well, no, not because it's CASH. There's no question about how you pronounce that. But I do appreciate the callback, Brandon. I do.
This could also bring back Silas's signature skill. But okay, so here's the issue with this card. I am searching for reasons.
Did we just discover it now?
I am searching for reasons to like this card, and I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Now, Silas could do. He could do the opportunist thing, because he has an 8 skills level 0 to 2, so you could pull back the 2 opportunists that are leveled up and his own custom skill or his signature skill with this card. Again, I'm scraping. I'm scraping. Yep. Nautical prowess. Thank you, penguins. All right.
Yeah. Well, I think we've scraped this card enough.
Yeah, the first half of the episode was just the build-up for True Survivor. Now the second half of the episode, yeah, this is the True Survivor episode.
We are true survivors for lasting this long with this card. What do you guys best card in the pack? What are your thoughts?
Well, let me look at the list again.
Because I think
stick to the plan.
Best
stick
card.
To the plan. Stick to the plan.
Ward of Protection level 2.
Stick to the plan, Brandon.
Ward of Protection.
No,
you don't need to stick to the plan if the treacheries can't get you.
Well, I'm not going to be reactive. I'm going to be proactive and set up my.
Yeah, I'm torn between those two, but I think those are the options.
It really is down to those two. I don't think there's anything else that holds a candle to either of them.
I think they're the only two that we were all that positive about. I guess St. Hubert's Key also.
Yeah,
but
it's
not a terribly strong pack overall.
Well, you
I don't know. I think
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think each class got something that, well, except for Survivor, I think each class got something that they were excited about.
Seeker. I mean, I guess Arcane Insight is exciting.
Oh yeah, you're right. Seeker didn't either. Never mind. So...
Yeah, because Seeker really needs more help.
But I was gonna say Yellow needs a shit pack every once in a while.
They were due.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for this episode of the Miskatonic AV Club. We are going to, if you're listening live, we'll be back in like 2 minutes. If you're listening on audio podcasts, we'll be back whenever you hit play again.
I think we call that the RSS feed, Scott.
Shut up, Nick.